Hello everyone, my name is Will. I'm making this video because I want to give you an idea of what's happened with ice hockey in Ireland over the last few decades. So, who am I? Well, I'm the Vice President of the Flying Ducks Ice Hockey Club. I'm also lucky to be the Vice President of the Irish Ice Hockey Association, which is the governing body for the sport in Ireland. So, we're going to take you on a bit of a journey. Hopefully it'll remind some of you of days gone by in Ireland, but we're going to cover in the next couple of minutes a bit of hockey history in Ireland. So just for some people that may not be aware that hockey has been happening in this country for a long time. So back in the early 80s, I turned 50 in December just gone, so that gives you a hint of that I am a bit ancient. Back in the days, I lived out in Kilbarrack and used to have to get the train and the bus, go across the city to an old rink called Dolphin's Barn. And Dolphin's Barn was an old cinema, which is going back many years. It was really bad ice, but we loved it. It was fantastic. I spent my youth in there. Many's the late night working there. Stayed overnight in the rink. Many times I slept in the ice rink. Lots of really good friends to this day who are still friends with me. People who even play hockey together still at this stage. So we're going back over 30 years. So back in the day, we would have been called the Dublin Dolphins. There was obviously the Royal College of Surgeons were the main players, the Stags back in the day, back in Dolphins Barn. They would have been the main guys. So they were there. You go along, suddenly I was looking to get a pair of ice skates, figure skates, and they were not coming in customs. And I asked the guys, what are them in the corner? He says, well, they're hockey skates. And I says, okay, can I have a pair of them? And that was it. So as weeks went on, I got a pair of gloves off someone, I got a stick off someone, I got shoulder pads. Back in the day, we had a goalkeeper had concrete blocks for leg pads. That's how bad things were back in the day, with no funding, no rink, no nothing. So that's a long time ago. You would think things would be different, not so much. So let's have a little bit of a walk back through. So back in the day, we were like the Rialto Rockets. There was the Dublin Dolphins, are the teams I remember. There was also a rink then we had over in Phibsborough. Okay, and Phibsborough was also another cinema complex which had been, I suppose, changed into an ice rink, and it was underneath the old Des Kelly carpets. And Des Kelly was a cracking supporter of ice hockey back in the day. Sadly, Des is no longer with us now, but he was a cracking, and his family were fabulous supporters of ice hockey back in the day. So when you look back at some of the stuff, give you a look at flashbacks here. So I'm going to show you here some of the jerseys that we had. I'll do this hopefully through hockey memorabilia. But this is a jersey we had from way back from the Dublin Flyers, our first real Dublin team. And we see the IIHA group, and we see things like, you know, these wouldn't be your top class jerseys, but these are rhinos from way back in the day. Again, so the Dublin Flyers would have been the real first well-known team in Dublin. And then you look then as time went on, we got a bit more elaborate and we got a few sponsors in as well with other things. And again, you can see this jersey here now, going back to the Flyers, way back with some beer company, maybe not appropriate these days. But you see the, you know, old Dublin Flyers logo. And we weren't too concerned with spell checking back in the day, because if you read that correctly, I think it says Fitzgerald. So again, it's not really Fitzgerald Lard. It's probably Fitzgerald Large now, but that's not to worry. So anyway, time went on, and in 1988, so this is going back, I joined the Irish Defence Forces, Óglaigh na hÉireann. So back in there, I was again training with the army. I just retired in April of 2017 after nearly 30 years service. But in that time I got to go overseas and do many things, and I always kept in with hockey. I took a bit of sabbatical for a few years and hadn't been there for quite a while. But again, when I got back into things, I was back 100%. And really what happened then was we had, with the opening of Dundalk Ice Dome back in 2007, was a huge step for Ireland. Straight away we had World Championships. Straight away we had hockey clubs. Straight away we had contact leagues, non-contact leagues, development, ladies. We had international teams coming over, all back in the day. And then we kicked off the old Flyers. And this is our new logo. And we had Brian Cleary and Keith Daly, were two guys who brought it back to life back in the day. And you can see, this is my old jersey from back then. But the Flyers were up and going again. It wasn't the Dublin Flyers anymore, but again, it was still the Flyers at heart, okay? So that was the Flyers kicked off. So as the leagues were going on, we had A and B leagues, we had different things, the structures were fantastic. And Dundalk Ice Rink, which remains in Dundalk to this day, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes, was fabulous. 2007 World Championships, Ireland playing there, other teams like New Zealand, again, and a big shout out to my friends in New Zealand and all the other countries that are supportive of us. It was fantastic. Dundalk was hockey town of Ireland. So as time went on, We got newer jerseys, we updated it a bit, same logo. Tackle come in from Finland, Petri and the guys, superb supporters of Irish hockey to this day, and wonderful people. So things went on, got really good. As we developed, we got sponsors. So there was the Flyers, and this is like our away jersey, and we had things like, you know, we had Henshaws, and we had Data 88 as our sponsors, we had TechCom, and we had K2 Hair. And K2 Hair was obviously heavily involved with the Kelly family in Dublin, and hello to the Kellys, because the Kellys have been a hockey family true and true from way back when. Way back. Huge membership fees in that family. So as time went on, hockey was being played in Dundalk, and all of a sudden, bang, it's gone. It's gone. Blink of an eye. So all of a sudden we're left with this wonderful facility closed up and nowhere to go. So all of a sudden we see these pop-up rinks Christmas time, and you know, they are what they are. They're marquees, they're small ice rinks, they're temporary there. They're not full-time purpose rinks, they're there all the time, just for a very short period of time. So what we have to do is we have to go onto wheels when we're not on ice, and we get the ice for about 8 weeks. Okay? So back then we had a rink out in the Point Depot, out near the Tree Arena or the O2. And one of the things we did was we had an old Dublin Flyers reunion game, going way back. And again, Keith Daly, Mark Bowes, myself, and a few others were on the ice, outdoors, having the crack back in 2010. How time flies. But again, Dundalk was closed. So as you can see, things were not really in a good position then. With a lot of people who love the sport, in excess of 1,000 members in the association, in the Irish Ice Hockey Association, and no rink. So for years and years, we've been going to Belfast up to Dundonald, and the guys up in Dundonald have been superb. Superb in the support to our sport. Ice Hockey UK have been amazing in their support to us. Over these years and decades, they've been there for us. Unfortunately, a little bit less so on the south of the border, but hopefully things will change in time. So let's carry on with our little tour. So what happened then, we had a bit of a reprieve. Suddenly then we hear there's a rink opening in Dublin. We say, okay, Dublin, not Dublin. So where's this going to be? Well, it's going to be up in Santry. So for a few weeks, we had a rink in Santry, and it was fantastic. And we had hockey there straight away. People were playing morning, noon and night, mostly into the night, barbecues, everything. And suddenly then, back in the day, we started up the Flyers Junior Hockey Club. So that was my team, the Flyers, and I put it together, and we started playing hockey in Santry, and it was wonderful. We got players coming in, the Flyers were back in the ice again. It was superb news. Unfortunately then, it wasn't to be. It wasn't there for very long. At the same time, there was another team in Dublin, and these guys were the Dublin Ducks. And the Dublin Ducks were playing in a rink over in Castleknock, called Castleknock on Ice, as you would expect. And in Castleknock on Ice, we had the likes of Darren and other really good supporters of the club, had set up a rink in this little, really good facility. Nice small rink, but fantastic for juniors. So the Ducks were playing there, the Flyers were over in Santry, and all of a sudden then we started having some training, some games and things like that, and that was wonderful. Again, the association were there. We were really pushing to try and get the junior development, get more and more players involved. So roll on a few years. No ice rink in Dundalk. It's still there, closed. Zambonis, plant, boards, advertising, everything there, bar the ice. A bit of damage done to it, but still a wonderful facility, world-class facility, sitting idle there. So what happens then? So as the years go by, suddenly we're playing teams, we're playing the Ducks, and the Ducks are playing the Flyers, and the Ducks are playing other teams in Kilkenny and Cork and Longford and other guys around the country, because there are other teams around there. You may not know about this, but there are other teams south and new teams now west of the border, or over in the west in like the likes of, say, Mayo and Galway, who all want to play ice hockey. So anyway, around Christmas time a few years ago, our kids were all talking to each other. I said, listen, Will and Aisling, the president of our club, I said, look, why don't we just get together and start developing the sport together? So then, the Flying Ducks came into being. It took the logo of the Ducks and it took the logo of the Flyers. We put it all together and they became the Flying Ducks. So the Flying Ducks became our team, and we were able to have age-appropriate training. Larger teams in specific age categories allowed us to do so much more large numbers in the executive, full executives, hard-working executive members, hard-working officers who were doing all these different things. The Flying Ducks, absolutely successful. And we'll talk more about the Ducks now in a second. So what have we been involved in? Well, some of the stuff we've been involved in here has been one of the most rewarding things that we've ever done, and that's our really good buddies in the Heroes program. So Kevin and Norm and Justin and the guys over in Canada who do the hockey camp for all these kids who have a little bit more of a difficult life than we might have. The Ducks provided some players from Dublin, down in Finglas, players from the north, and we all got together. We went to camp away down in Glendalough, and we went off to Belfast as well for a week's hockey camp. Fabulous thing. Best guys come over from Canada, provide so much to these kids, and we are absolutely loving to be involved in that. So anyway, remember, I was still in the army. So I goes off to the army and I'm sitting over there in CFB Borden, doing a course with the guys. And next of all, I'm heading home and it's time to go. And of course, I give the lads an old hurley stick because remember, hockey has a lot of history with hurling. And again, some of you will have seen a recent documentary on hurling, which is great because those guys are very supportive of the association and what we're trying to do. So again, I made a presentation back then to the Canadian Forces of a little hurley stick. And the guys made sure that I got a bit of a thing to take home with me too. Now, the player on the back, again, good old Crosby, okay? So I wear this with pride, especially when we're up in our training. I always like wearing it. It's a lovely jersey, okay? I haven't got a USA one yet though, okay? But again, this is when I was on an army course, went off, hockey straight away. Hockey Hall of Fame was my first port of call. So as we're going on anyway, I'm now back on the executive committee, or rather I'm on the executive committee of the association. And one of the tasks that we have there is that we are part of the International Ice Hockey Federation. Now the International Ice Hockey Federation are our parent organisation. So they run hockey everywhere in the world. Okay? Obviously amateur hockey. The NHL do the NHL professional leagues. You've got the KHL, you've got the UK Elite League. They're all different things. But the IIHF are our parent body. So lucky for me, I got a chance to go to Moscow in 2016. Now, the Federation are very supportive, but there's only so much the Federation can do. We are currently a nation in bad standing. And what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean that we're bad boys. It means that we've no ice rink. So we don't meet the minimum qualifying criteria to be able to play in World Championships, which means that Team Ireland can't go to World Championships. It also means that the Irish delegates, myself and the President, have no vote on the floor at the Federation Congress, which to me is quite embarrassing, and I'm not happy with it one bit. Okay? The Federation can only do so much. Ireland has to do stuff as well. Okay? So what happens then? Time goes on, we come back, and then this happens. The Saints, the Irish Ice Hockey Association's junior development team, because we've been busy, despite the fact that we're not, playing World Championships, we've kept busy, and the Saints are born. The Saints is our national development team. And what have we done? Well, we've had teams who've gone off to Boston, okay? And we've also had teams who've gone off to Toronto. The Boston and Toronto trip was the same trip. And so much so was this success, fantastic trip, that our kids got to play on the ice on St. Patrick's Day at the Toronto Maple Leafs game during the intermission. Go and look at Leafs TV, stick in, okay, have a look there, you can see the kids playing. Go back then. This year's, or rather, we're in 2018 now. This is the 2017 World Championships. I'm at this one as well. Again, no vote. What happens then? The Flying Ducks take it a step further. We go off on a 10-day hockey camp to Montreal.